Wait, what? This is absurd. You mean to tell me from limited entry 1, it was plus 26? It comes as no surprise that Tekken 8 Season 2 has been a complete wash. We thought we were getting buffs to defense, and while we technically did, we got so many buffs to offense where defense didn't even matter. It came to a point where you had people across the spectrum, from content creators to professional players to even casuals, saying Season 2 isn't even Tekken. And it got to the point where the developers had to say, hey, we messed up. This vision of Tekken 8 did not align with what y'all wanted, and we're sorry. And what we're going to do is implement incremental changes, starting with the emergency patch that we're about to go over, to make sure that the vision of Tekken 8 that y'all have aligns with our vision. Now, how true is that? Only time will tell, but at least this is a step in the right direction to address some things. So let's see what this patch is all about. Here we go. We have it. And there's 3 pages worth. This part right here is more so of a summary of what was already said, where they basically say they messed up. They're sorry. And they're working on distinguishing between issues that they could fix quickly, as well as issues that may require more time and community feedback so that they can be implemented correctly. So more so, they're working on increased maximum health. This is in this patch. Gradual adjustments to overly high rewarded moves, rebalancing the offensive and defensive aspects of the heat system, because we all know that's been a real thorn in people's sides throughout all of this. The adjustments to tip damage, as well as to some other things too. So health gauge, the first thing right here, talked about 180 to 200. So I don't think it's not a lot. It's definitely a decent amount though. Rage activation threshold is based on 23% of a character's total health. In a way, I would like to see the rage be a bit lower in terms of percentage, because we still gotta factor in, at least I think this is still in the game, where if your rage is below a certain percentage, right, you have it, but then you regain health because you still have all that recoverable health, you still have rage. I think if your main health is outside of that threshold, then it should go away. But that's just me. I don't think that's something that definitely should be looked at. And they're gonna be looking at this 23.5% threshold, maybe adjusted in the future. They may just need more data. All right, cool. Throws. They made adjustments to ensure that throws offer still advantage to the attacker even if the throw was broken. Considering that throw breaking is a high-level technique reflecting a player's practice and reaction speed, this is true because you have to see what hand is coming out. Well, except if you're king, sometimes then it's really a guess. That takes precision, that takes muscle memory and reaction to be able to do that. And now they made a change in the mechanic where the defender receives 5 recoverable damage upon a successful throw break has been removed. Good. And it shouldn't even have been there in the first place. I don't even know why that was even a thing. Heat engagers. This is one major thing that's been talked about, because heat engagers right now, plus 17 on hit. You basically have to hold whatever it is that the opponent is going to do, especially when you factor in that you can actually go into crouch from heat engagers as well, which I think is crazy. But now, when after a hit transition to a running motion, recovery time has been reduced by 8 frames. So plus 17, now it's only plus 9. Okay, I think that still might give us a little bit of wiggle room. I'm not 100% sure how it's all gonna go into play if you still have the ability to sidestep or anything of that matter, but at least it's lower than what the fastest regular move is in the game, which is a jab. Plus 9, I think that's pretty good. Yeah, I was thinking maybe plus 8, maybe somewhere along that line, but to plus 9, it's not double digits. All right, cool. Post-hit aerial combo damage scaling from 70% to 60%. Change the recoverable damage inflicted when performing a heat dash after forcing the opponent to block a move from 7 to 2. And they already said, okay, that's not that bad. I think that's all right. That's not terrible. To reduce chip damage. This chip damage has been a major thing. So I'm glad this is something that's been talked about right now. Moves that do not normally deal chip damage. To lessen the additional chip applied during heat, the chip damage scaling has been changed from 25% to 20%. Heat smash attacks from blocking has been lowered overall. That's good. I like that. Moves that deal chip damage by default. Adjustments are made so that no additional chip damage is applied during heat for these moves. I personally think that chip damage should only happen when you're in heat. Heat is an enhanced state. All right, every move that I do, chip damage. But when you don't have heat, there shouldn't be any chip damage. That's just my personal thought on that. Moves whose properties change in heat are moves that deal increased chip damage due to a character-specific heat system. Due to revised chip damage calculations, some moves were exhibiting excessive variance in chip damage. The balance adjustment made accordingly. All right. This key charge one, I still don't necessarily agree with why they removed such a legacy thing from key charge being on counter hit to now just dealing extra damage. But now they're saying the damage scaling on first hit has been changed from 150% to 110%. You've seen a lot of these freaking combo moves where the health is just bleeding out, bleeding dry really fast. So 110%, I like that. Still wish they would bring back the legacy change. Moves that induce wall stagger. In future Tekken 8 updates, so it doesn't look like it might be in this change, maybe we'll see. Among these moves that trigger a wall stagger on block were a particular concern. Such moves could easily create extreme advantage plus 10 or more, which is, it's dangerous. When used near a wall, forcing the defending player into powerful mix-up situations without any opportunity to respond. One player game. To reduce these kind of one-sided situations, the team has reviewed all wall stagger on block moves across all characters. Any move that created an advantage of plus 10 or greater on block will no longer trigger a wall stagger when blocked. That's interesting. I would think that they would just lower the frames and still kind of keep the wall stagger. But does that mean that it's still plus 10? But there's just no wall stagger? Is that what that means? There might be something where you just have to kind of see it. Throw breaks. Fixed an issue where certain input combinations allow players to break throws that should only be breakable with either 1 or 2, only effectively enabling breaks for both type of throws. So that seems like that was just a little bit of a bug that ended up getting fixed. So that's cool. Okay. It seems like there's definitely some good things in here. There's some stuff that I already mentioned that I wish was the actual thing, but doesn't sound too bad. Now we're going to get into some of the more the character specific stuff, kind of see what happens. Now we're on to page 2, character specific stuff. First off, we have Anna. It looks like a lot of her balances are definitely nerfs, and it has to deal with her being in heat and also with some of her stances where a lot of the final hits on a lot of these sequences, they triggered wall splats before, and you just end up getting a full combo out of it. But looks like a lot of these say just the opponent's behavior on final hit no longer triggers wall splat, no longer triggers wall splat, no longer triggers wall splat. So all of these is definitely great because, like you were talking about before, being plus 10, wall splatting in general, it can be definitely a bit dangerous for sure. During pleasure time 4s, it looks like it's really interesting. Change the opponent's behavior on hit to make them stand up facing forward. This change was made because the long period of unrecoverable time allowed for unblockable situations with sidesteps and axis shifting attacks. Oh, this is actually a big one right here. This slap reversal, if you haven't seen the bug, where the slap reversal basically wrecked the game pretty much, where if Anna slapped you, you can do the reversal back, but it's only supposed to be for specific characters. But every single character could do it. Even King. King was slapping back when King don't even got a slap like that. And then the bug where unintended moves could be triggered by specific command inputs, they ended up fixing that too, because people were stealing moves all over the place and whatnot. It was ridiculous, honestly, man. It was wild. Asuka only got one right here, not with Gusto. In accordance with the overall balance adjustments, the move no longer induces wall stagger unblocked by the opponent. So she still got all the crazy buffs that she has, but maybe those will be reintroduced or will be looked at before the next major patch before Tekken World Tour. That's what we're definitely looking for. Brian. Yes, Brian Fury. One of the things that they added in season 2, Neo Grim Reaper, which is in Snake Eyes, which is basically a hatchet kick from crouch. Low risk when blocked. Yeah, no crap, Sherlock. But what they've done with it is, well, they've made it minus 13, which I think is, no, Hatchet Kick might also be minus 13, or it might be minus 12. The consumption of remaining heat has been changed from -2, yep, more consumption, adjusted so that counter hit no longer triggers a wall splat. I just wish that the move didn't exist. I'm being honest. Why does Brian need that move when he already has Hatchet Kick, and then he needs another Hatchet Kick within Snake Eyes? I don't understand why he necessarily needs it. It's not really his identity as a character, but yeah, whatever. It doesn't seem like there's going to be moves that are going to be removed. They're just going to be adjusted. If double forward 1+2, no wall stagger, and that's really it. That's really it for Brian. Claudio, mostly wall stagger. Clive, behavior fixes with a rebalance of the new season 2 move, Staff of Judgment. Yeah, Staff of Judgment, freaking ridiculous move. I think it's like +4 or +6 on block or whatever. On counter hit, you get 60 free damage. Absolutely absurd. It's kind of equivalent, not equivalent, but if you ever done Clive's back throw, it's basically that, but moving forward. Like, what other move do you need than, forward 1+2? You honestly really don't. It really that strong, almost as if it was strong as his forward 1+2 is Heat Engager. Yeah, it was like that. So longer, yep, okay. So what are making changes to this now? Reduce the damage on counter hit from 60 to 50. Reduce opponents for every time. Okay, so it was actually +4 on block to +3. I don't even know +3 is even enough, but okay. Chip damage from 6 to 2. Wall stagger. And there's some other ones. Fixing input where inputting forward followed by 1 while running will prevent follow-up moves from being executed. So that seems like it's just a little issue that they fixed. Okay. Devil Jin, just wall stagger stuff. Eddie, wall stagger. Adjust opponent behavior when the first attack hits a downed opponent. Okay, because it's probably not supposed to. Fixing an issue where unintended behavior could occur at the start of a round. All right, okay, cool. And this is kind of similar to when we saw earlier. Change the opponent behavior on hit to make them stand up facing forward. Because there were some times where you sidestep, you can basically get an unblockable situation and you continue a combo, and that's that. It's actually happened with Law. I would be shocked if I don't see Law having something very similar later on in this patch. He definitely should. Fang, wall stagger. Heihachi, wall stagger. Huarang, change the opponent's behavior on hit to make him stand up face forward. Same thing, okay. Jack, make some noise, could be performed as a follow-up from Jack 8's close range core move. Yes, 2-1, very low risk, high reward. So they made a preemptive adjustment, has been made to scale back the performance of the move. So if you didn't hear, 2-1 in the make some noise, absolutely ridiculously overpowered, +8 on block, cannot be stepped, cannot be jabbed out of. You can power crush it, but it's not even really a viable option when you could just do 2-1 into jumping, or you could just 2-1 and throw. So what did they end up doing here for this? 30 to 20, big damage nerf. Big damage nerf for Chiff, 12 to 4. Recovery time, so from +8 to +5. Okay, +5, all right. The attack hitbox has been reduced to mitigate the unintended occurrence of hidden opponents or behind you, correcting the issue where the third input in a sequence could be executed 5 frames earlier if intended. So it's still not something that you can jab out of. It's still a mix, even though it's +5. It's still something. I just wish there was more options, if I'm being honest with you. I wish there was more. Last but not least, we have the third page. Jin. Yeah, Jin has some crazy issues as well. His while running 3 into Zen stance, which then you can have that into a mix up and then run again and just repeat it all over again. It's absolutely complete mess. So what did they end up doing from this? It shouldn't have been +12 in the first place for that. But now it's +6. Seems like that's kind of something similar to doing where if something transitions in the stance, then they kind of give it kind of like that +5, +6 type of thing. It's kind of similar with Lee's while running 3-4. It's +3 on block if you don't transition into Hitman, but it's +6 if you do transition into Hitman. So that's interesting. Okay. Damage nerf, no wall stagger, The opponent's behavior on down hit has been reverted to the pre-200 state, prevent vowels from connecting. Expanded the hurt box, alleviating situations with certain attacks with whiff. Okay, all right. June, yep, we've received rebalancing of our Zumo stance related moves. Key factors contributing to our stance's excessive strength. Start up with a low attack during a Zumo. 4-1 was sped up, making it nearly impossible to block on reaction. That was basically her hell sweep during a Zumo, yes. The mid attack during a Zumo already had moderate tracking. And her new move during her Mare or Miar move, where you kind of see her aura and everything, highly powerful, enabling June to force her Zumo offense onto opponents with little counterplay. But they aim to preserve the core offensive strength of a Zumo by making it more manageable for opponents to respond, ultimately promoting deeper and more balanced mind games. Okay, what does that mean? More so lowering frames for these moves, +6 to +4. Okay, I think, yeah, up to that is a Zumo. These transition into a Zumo. Yep, +4. Downward hitbox of the first attack has been reduced, making it easier to sidestep. The tracking has been reduced, so you can sidestep it kind of like a hell sweep. That's nice. With the above adjustment, when June uses this move from a +4 situation, the opponent can more easily evade it by sidestepping to the right. I like details like this, telling you what exactly is the counterplay. That's very good. More lowering of frames, +6 to +4. Expanding hurt boxes for a Zumo 4, which is that first move for the hell sweep. And that's it for him. Kazuya, basically nothing, just wall stagger stuff. King has some things too. Stampede Crush. Yeah. This move was ridiculous, especially if you're talking about the wall. The last hit would be able to hit grounded opponents, so on and so forth. But now they made him a preemptive balance adjustment, which means that there might be some adjustments later on in the future, but they're just scaling back this move right here. The second hit no longer connects as a natural combo after the first hit lands. The hitbox of the third hit has been reduced, making it harder to connect against opponents in a down state, which means the second hit probably only connects as a natural combo on counter hit is my guess. Reduce the tracking ability of the third hit if you hold the last one and then the down hit as well. Yep. Jaguar Sprint 3, the powered up version, no wall stagger. Very good. This just seems like it's a behavior fix where recoverable gauge was not regenerating. And then this is just a behavior fix as well. Kuma and Panda. Wall stagger. Fixing the issue where the opponent behavior upon activating Heat Dash during the airborne hit did not match the intended behavior. Fixing the issue where Heat Dash could be activated on whiff under certain conditions. Okay. Damage scaling knockback were being reset on hit. And then this is just other behavior stuff. Lars, if you're looking at Lars, mostly just looks like damage and frame things. Wait, what? Damage 19 to 17, 23 to 19, wall stagger. This is absurd. You mean to tell me from limited entry 1, it was +26? And it reduces to +4? What is +26? Tell me. That's like some Tekken 2 stuff for King's freaking stagger kicks being so ridiculously plus. You could do whatever it is that you want. What is +26, bro? Well, I'm glad they fixed that though. All right, whatever. Stuff with heat timer. The remaining heat timer would not recover depending on the timing of an input follow-up move. And then fixing the issue where inputting down 4-3 down and the 2-1+2 will intentionally cause during dynamic entry to combo after a hit. All right. Let's see. Law. During Dragon Charge, in accordance with more wall stagger stuff. So they didn't actually do it for Law about what I mentioned before about the sidestepping at the wall, which leads to unblockable setups. Apparently he still has it. Kind of shocked about that. Lee, during Hitman, fixed the issue where Heat Dash could be triggered on whiff under certain conditions. Yeah, okay, yeah, it makes sense, all right. Wall stagger, more damage, heat consumption, and then they aim to address some inconsistencies, okay? Lydia, wall stagger, Lily, wall stagger. This action was originally intended to be performed only by certain characters, a slap reversal. Okay, so yeah, I'm pretty sure Nina should have it. Yep. Yep. Paul. Yeah, Paul has some crazy stuff. Wall stagger, more recoverable gauge, fix the issue where performing specific inputs after forcing the opponent to block will result in guaranteed follow-up attacks. Yeah, because this right here, this was big freaking issues where it was basically a throw loop, but you couldn't really do anything about it. You just had to take it if you got hit. Reina moves a whiff mid animation in specific situations near walls. Incorrect damage scaling on airborne hits. Shaheen whiff for heat dash. Change the opponent's behavior on hit to make him stand up facing forward because of long periods of unrecoverable time unlocked for unblockable situational side steps. I'm kind of shocked about this for Law. Maybe this doesn't necessarily address situations at the wall, but I don't know. Xiao Yu, Hypnotist, wall stagger. Yoshimitsu, wall stagger. Zafina, kind of similar, same thing about changing the opponent's behavior on hit to make him stand up facing forward. So based on what we've seen from the patch so far, this doesn't really do a lot. It fixes some standardized base things such as wall stagger for very specific moves. There are very specific moves that they did ended up addressing, like the Jin loop situation, the Jax make some noise, the King, the third hit of Stampede Crush, being able to hit down opponents. I think this is something, it feels like it's a step in the right direction for very specific things, but throughout the video, I definitely did mention there are things that I wish would either A, not be in the game at all, or B, would have a bit more counterplay as opposed to just lowering the frames. But I'm not sure if I would still play this game at this point right now. It seems like there's still major things to be addressed. I mean, I don't even see Dragunov here. I don't think he even has anything like that, anything with a pigeon roll or anything. But at least the main thing we could say is Bandai Namco, the Tekken team, they're working on making sure that this product lives, right? And it's only because we chose to speak up on it. That's really the major thing. We chose to speak up because we didn't recognize the game that Tekken 8 was becoming. And I think if we continue to do that more and more, then maybe there'll be a little bit of a middle ground on the type of game that we can all love, and Tekken can really soar to where we really see it as possibly one of the greatest Tekken games of all time. But now we just have to wait, hold this patch for a little bit until the next major one before Tekken World Tour, and hope that with all the data that has been aggregated as well as our feedback, hopefully our feedback does not get minimized or anything of the sort, then maybe we actually get something closer that we're looking for. That's really hope for. As someone who's played the Tekken franchise ever since Tekken 2 was my first one, I really hope so. I really do.